And thank you for joining us for another live episode of Conversations with Michael. And we are, of course, streaming live today from our home studio in the beautiful Willamette Valley of Oregon. Michael woke me up last night to tell me that he has a special message for today's gathering, so I too am looking forward to hearing what he has to share. We always look forward to these monthly sessions to share, to celebrate, and acknowledge the life all of us have chosen as this world enters a new era, a time that has been prophesized for a very long time. It represents a major shift in the consciousness of this human family. But as most of us have discovered, it's not so easy. Not so easy to let go of your own story. Even if you don't like it, at least you can count on it. So when we come together like this, it allows us to feel into the incredible expansion, all the growth that is happening inside of all of us, internal movements of energy that are literally changing how it feels to be a human being. When I think back of those that have walked this path before us, I tend to imagine how it must have been a very lonely experience, very little support, very little contact with others. But Michael has assured me that the vast majority of those that ascended from this reality, they wouldn't trade their ascension for what all of us have chosen to experience. Those that walk this same path, they experienced a life here on earth that was much slower. There just weren't any phones, computers, the internet, or newspapers. It could take years before you heard of any news from any other part of the world. Just imagine that, where today, in a blink of an eye, it's right there on social media. So maybe it's a really good time to feel a deeper sense of pride for all the work all of you are doing with your own life. Not too many beings on or off this planet would want to trade places with any of you. Because like you, well, they too can feel from the non-physical realms a very intense transformation that is happening on this planet. So let's begin today's session by taking that deep breath. There is a lot going on inside your lives and on this planet. In fact, if there existed a cosmic multiplex theater, Earth would be breaking all the known records for the number of beings that are watching this movie. It's that incredible. Our lives are shifting in ways, well, that can be a little unsettling. And as well, the current energy on this planet is also changing big time. So it's really, really important to remember to just breathe. Use your breath to help ground yourself. Connect yourself to the physical body so as not to get pulled into all the drama that exists all beside us. Koken and I are deeply honored to play the part we have chosen to play with all of you in all of this, both as that relates to what you're now experiencing, the full integration of your soul as a human being meaning a lot of you decided this year to do what? Well, from our perspective, to put your Creator shoes on. And what did that mean? Well, it meant no more excuses, no more compromises. But those Creator shoes, they'll feel like a burden if it's just your human self wearing them. And then there are those who hope to experience such a freedom, but don't quite feel ready. It can take your breath away, all these changes, if you're not really paying attention. Rapid fire changes in just about every direction. So it'd be natural for our human mind to want to try and make sense of it all. Let's take another deep breath. Just feel into all the energies that are here today. Feel Michael's presence, offering his own energy in support of where you're at with your life right now. Very good. We're not alone in this. There are always these non-physical beings that are here in service to all of us, as well as now the way that we're able to connect with each other, acting as supports to each other. And for those of you that might be following our work, our service, so many of you have noticed yet another huge shift. What part of you is now breathing? Indeed, this would be new. It's been a very long time since it was your soul breathing the air here on earth, because it's so easy to get pulled into all the distractions as a human being. The collective consciousness of this human family can act like a magnet. It feeds on drama, supports itself through conflict and self-doubt. And if you are someone that feels called to become actively involved by helping to make this more sustainable planet, we know that can be really challenging and at times rewarding. So we want to thank you for your service. And like us, some of you also feel called to put all of your passion into reclaiming your own energy, reclaiming a sovereign relationship with your soul. That, in and of itself, represents a full-time occupation. It doesn't leave a lot of room for other experiences. By allowing your own radiance as a sovereign being to now act as a magnet, that offers such a profound shift in how most human beings experience themselves and what they attract to them. And from our own experience, it attracts a lot of new opportunities. But the presence of your soul, it does more than just that. It also brings to your own awareness those parts of yourself that question if any of this is even real. And that part that likes to keep repeating itself will just keep asking, is it really possible to create your own reality? Because a lot of people like to talk about it. But how many have actually experienced such a thing in their own day-to-day reality. We know firsthand how challenging that can be, to be so divinely selfish to only choose for yourself, as that relates to your own personal reality, to be willing to be on this planet without any agenda, but not of it. Nobody's going to hand out any rewards for that service. But to those of you that are now consciously breathing, not just with your soul, here's the big one, but as it. You know firsthand that all of your creations now come from within you. And that represents an incredible new freedom. And what else? What else have those of you who are allowing this to become real? Well, it takes a lot of responsibility. But for the most part, the presence of our light, our soul's light, isn't even recognized by the majority of people on this planet, let alone the essential part it plays here on Earth. And when it comes to talking about the non-physical realms, there's a lot of woo-woo connected to that. So the family of humanity, for the most part, will need some kind of proof. And that's where quantum physics come into play. But even that will be considered by many to just be yet another theory without any substance. So for most of all of you that were willing to change your life, it wasn't based so much on faith, was it? It was your intuition that kept insisting that what you are feeling is actually real, which accommodated the passion to radiate your own energy. And to all of you that had the courage to own your light, well, we have to thank you also for your service. We know it's not an easy thing to do. Michael has insisted over all these years on keeping this as simple as possible. And we know it's not easy to keep it simple. To accept that the art of not doing has any value. What value does not doing life have for any human being? What becomes of your life from not doing life? Well, it becomes a very personal experience. One that for many is really hard to explain. Difficult to put words to it. While at the same time, what so many are discovering when you just stop relying on your thinking process so as to offer any wisdom in service to your own health and well-being, in service to all the problems that face this planet, you discovered, as that relates to your personal experience, that any reality that is solely created by our doing part, without acknowledging the role of our being part, really has no value. Some have gone so far to say it represents an illusion because it isn't able to sustain itself without extracting or relying on energies from outside of itself. Just look at the world around us. How is doing life going for the family of humanity? Its impact on the natural resources of this planet has been catastrophic. And that's not an easy thing to own as it relates to the collective consciousness on this planet. But emerging from the depth of this human family is a growing revolution of sorts, spiritual in nature, unlike anything that has been seen before. We see it firsthand with some of the people we have the honor of serving. Major personal transformations on so many levels, unlike anything we have witnessed over the last 40 years. Something is truly touching the hearts and minds of millions of people, inviting them to do what? Well, from our perspective, to do perhaps the hardest thing to do for any human being, to just stop, and then to start paying attention to what is really going on inside of you. Because when you do, you notice that there exists something that is truly profound, buried deep inside of all of us, underneath all those doubts, worries, and concerns. You discover something that was almost forgotten, but has started to come now to the forefront. Millions of people worldwide are beginning to question their own reality. We see it in those we are working with, a presence that is so pure and innocent that it appears to have very little impact on life. But that's a mistake that doesn't need to be repeated. To the doing part, it's hard for it to even comprehend the impact it does have, only because it's been that long since these two parts of us have been separated. Which brings up the question, what part would such a presence play on this planet? It's really hard to imagine such an innocent presence living alongside all the turmoil and drama on this planet. But somebody did, or we wouldn't be talking about it. Not only are there now millions of people questioning their own reality as that relates to all the known systems of support on this planet, but there are also thousands that have allowed such a divine presence to now play a part in their life in the form of their own soul. It has emerged from deep within this human experience. But what all have discovered that have allowed it to come forward, this presence has no interest in playing the game called follow the leader, which means that if it is your joy to tell others what to do, now would be a really good time to look for another line of work. This presence is not looking for itself outside of itself. It already knows who it is. It already knows what it is. It sounds almost too good to be true. And it is. If your allegiance as a human being is still focused on just your conditioned human identity. in that relationship, you're more concerned every single day about fulfilling those underlying wants, needs, and desires. And if you find yourself consumed by all the problems on this planet, and we get it, there are many, it's simply too overwhelming for your human self. So you stop looking for solutions. Now you're just looking for relief. Many find relief by just shutting down. And many have found that in the form of medications. So if all you're allowing is your human self without its non-physical counterpart, you're probably looking for the first flight off this planet. And if you choose to stay, despite the current circumstances, let's be honest, we can pretty much guarantee it's going to be a very bumpy ride, with or without your soul. Because the majority of human beings have completely forgot who they really are. So we want to take this opportunity to thank all of you that are watching this live stream for your service to something that does make sense, something that you're now able to live with. The game being played on this planet has outlived itself. Humanity is now ready for something new. And what's new is exploring your own inner reality and all the power games your human self likes to play in relationship with your soul. Let's take a moment there to just acknowledge that. It's not a judgment. We're not shaming anybody, but can we just be real? Acknowledge it. Ultimately, there lies a solution to whatever you perceive to be out of balance. Because at the core of your soul resides this innocent, pure presence. It's called the original self, but with your name on it as an individuated version now of the original self. And whenever you're ready to stop pretending that it doesn't exist inside of you, that choice has a huge impact on the world around us. Just imagine the world today without the presence of Yeshua or Buddha, two beings who allowed this pure and innocent version of their own soul to step forward. So we invite all of you, if a human soul relationship truly speaks to your heart, then feel free to check out our website. We have something there for everyone, no matter where you are in your life. I created a short video to watch at the end of today's show to highlight some of our services. But if our approach doesn't really speak to your heart, then don't stop there. Keep looking. There are more spiritual teachers on this planet than ever before. There are millions of human beings proclaiming that they are tired of spending so much time and energy cleaning up the mess left behind from all those that insist on playing power games just for the fun of it. It's also why so many of you that have awakened to the presence of your soul are here in this lifetime. But there are still many who have yet to truly integrate their own energy, their divine nature, one that has no agenda, to now exist consciously at the front of their life. Millions of human beings are crying for relief, are pleading for help, while for the most part, they're looking to the stars to see if anyone is listening. And on that note, this would be a really good time for I, Michael, to make my entry once again. Thank you, Robert, for the seamless transition. Indeed, we invited all of you to stop looking above you and to start looking straight ahead, but perhaps in a mirror, and from there to allow the very presence that incarnated on this planet to reveal itself to your human self. Oh, you will see it looking right back at your human identity without judgment, but with a very simple question. Are you done, dear human, with playing this game? I, soul, am here too. Is now a good time for us to coexist? Deep breath, my friends. Deep breath. Because we've come to this place where it is that important, simply because there's no more time. There's no more way to procrastinate or to wiggle yourself around, acknowledging that you're more than just the human. So all the heart-centered soul beings that heard this cry for help and responded by incarnating into this physical reality for most of you one last time, I am here to remind all of you to stop withholding what you came here to share. Stop it. Stop listening to all that internal mind chatter and calling that your reality. You're not here to save the planet. You're not here to process all of those unresolved human emotions. You are here to share the love you're feeling for yourself, to inspire others, to act on behalf of this human family by first filling your own life with your own presence. I can see the challenge all of you face, but greater than any external conflict that might be happening as we speak, and we know there are many, or any disrespect for the very environment that actually supports life on this planet, your greatest challenge faces you every time you get out of bed to start a new day. It has everything to do with the value you place on your own energy. We can't say this enough, so we're just going to keep repeating it. All that your heart desires will manifest when you embrace your own energy, the energy of your soul, as being what? As being priceless. It's this simple. The part that most of you are playing has everything to do with the quality of your own radiance, as that relates to the value you place on that light. To be conscious of those underlying thoughts and emotions that serve to enhance or diminish such a presence. All of you know what we are speaking of. This is not new to any of you. It's time, my friends, to stop feeding this internal battle and to start radiating the only experience that will bring you peace of mind. How, you might ask? What is our magical solution to your internal dilemma? Well, that too is really, really simple. You've heard it before. Just stop right now. Stop doing life long enough to feel your own being. One breath at a time. Without that presence, being present, your doing part goes into fear every single time. My friends, have you not noticed this? The doing part thinks it needs to become what it is not in order to experience something new. Your being part knows there already exist other versions of itself that already know what your doing part thinks it is missing. So how do we change this? Stop withholding your being part from your doing part. Allow these divine counterparts to once again dance together. We see many of you that we have the honor of serving, and truly it is an honor, starting to dance to your own song. A song that speaks of this divine reunion that we speak of. It's such a beautiful thing to witness. It's rare for me, in service to the family of humanity, to see so many of you now dancing to your own energy. Thank you for sharing it. But we also see many more that have yet to allow such an experience to become real. And so it is our joy to be of service to such a freedom. The freedom to just be. Be yourself as a divine being. Stop looking at any template that was created in your past. This is unique to you, or it wouldn't be sovereign. We know that the collective consciousness on this planet is looking for answers, looking for leaders that are willing to serve the people. That would be new. But a lot needs to change for that to become real. So it is critical at this time that all of you allow your being part to shine its light, to offer hope where it appears to be none. These next few decades will decide the future for this human family. Feel into that. Feel into that. Because you can both feel the burden as it relates to your own personal responsibility, but you can also feel the joy because you responded to your responsibility to shine your light. You can be of service from the joy in your heart. So on that note, it is time. It's very important right now, today, in this moment, as I speak, to not get pulled into this collective game. Just stop. That's right, just stop doing life. And start feeling the natural qualities of your own being in support of a new dance between these different parts of you. What some of you are feeling from my own energy also exists inside of you. What is it? It is the dynamic presence of the original self, which will never force itself upon you. You must allow it to step forward. Your perception as a soul being that had you believing that such a presence exists outside of you was false. Now is a good time to stop beating yourself up for creating such an illusion, and to stop listening to those that have taken advantage of your guilt and calling that spiritual. Such a reunion changes your perception of reality from being static and linear to being open and multidimensional. In this now moment, there exists many versions of Earth. You want to experience a more uplifting version? Change your own perception by allowing the core of your soul to share its own presence. And what you will witness from your human perspective will change your life forever. Because as a soul being, you already are magnificent. You already are enlightened. Your number one job is to now allow it to be you too. We know that all this talk about your divine nature can feel a little overwhelming to your human self. But we're not asking your human self to become this. That would truly be too much. What we are asking yourself to do is to allow it, and then to serve it. To allow it and to serve what you allow. So we offer a variety of very simple and effective tools to help guide and support the integration of your soul, so that you can go beyond believing that you are a conscious creator of your own experience to knowing that it is true, while using this earth as your witness. That's all you need. It is my honor to be of service to all of you. Let's take another deep breath. Acknowledge whatever energies might have gotten stirred up today. And there are many. We can see them. And now accept them. With all your heart, just accept them. Because that allows the very light of your soul to now radiate its presence with all that you are from within yourself, then shared with others. Take another deep breath. Until our next gathering, my friends, be well.